welcome a top contender from New Jersey, the bright-eyed 24-year-old Erin Blanchfield. That's really good as they work along the fence now. Now they clinch right in the center.
Yeah, Blanchfield is not deterred. It's very impressive. She's a fighter through and through. I mean, this is high-level stuff. Oh, look at this. Big mistake.
She just proved that she's probably next in line for that belt.
Your winner by unanimous decision, Erin Cold-Blooded Blanchfield!
Cold-blooded, and here with us in studio, Erin Blanchfield. You heard Brendan Fitzgerald on the call, just age 24, and now one of the top contenders in the flyweight division. Erin, first, thank you for joining us. But also, in the sport, we see so many people who, you know, yesteryear, they would fight throughout, they maybe even participate in a different event or different sport entirely. MMA has been basically your life. How did you first get into this, and when did you realize that this would be your future and your profession?
Yeah, MMA has been something I've been training since I was 7 years old. You know, I started with like no-gi jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. My little brother actually started training, and I went to go watch him, and I was offered like an introductory class, and I was hooked after that. Yeah, and then it kind of just all snowballed. I started competing around maybe like 8 or so, and yeah, I just kind of kept going from there.
Of course, the ultimate goal for any fighter is to make it to the UFC. When you finally get that call, hey, we're going to sign you to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Describe that moment for you. How did you receive the call?
Yeah, I was actually at the gym when I got that. I got a text from my manager asking if I could take a short notice fight at 135. And that's something I've been waiting for. So obviously right away I was like, yes. I told my coach, and he was like, okay. And it was literally, I think it was like a 10-day notice for the fight. So the following week I went out to Vegas, and it was funny because actually to sign that contract, I was at home before class. I was still in college, and I did it all on my computer, signed my promotional contract with the UFC, the bout contract.
And then went to class?
I went to school. Yeah.
That's amazing. Can you imagine that day?
Yeah.
You sign your UFC contract and you just go to class.
Professor can't tell me nothing. Erin, and you're 6-0 in the UFC octagon, 12-1 in your career. To what do you attribute having such a successful start in the premier promotion in combat sports?
Yeah, I really believe it's just in your training, and you know, I always tried to take the toughest fights before I got into the UFC. I was with Invicta, and I had a lot of good experience there. Yeah, I think it's just training, winning your fights, and always trying to learn whether you win or lose, like not being content with your wins.
So you have history ahead of you, possibly. You could become, you get a title shot in the next 12, 15 months, you could become the youngest female UFC champion in history. It's cool for us because we love talking about things like that and shining a spotlight on it. But for you as the fighter, how much are things like that important to you?
Yeah, I think that's awesome that I've been able to get to that point. It's not really anything I focused on. I feel like I always stayed focused on winning my next fight, and that's kind of why I feel like I got here. I didn't really think too far in the future and put that much pressure on myself. I just kept focusing on what was next, and it put me in this position.
Well, what's next could be a title shot. We got to figure things out this weekend with Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. Is there a circumstance, a way that fight could play out that you think would put you in the driver's seat for your next fight to be as title challenger?
Yeah, you know, I feel like if Alexa wins, that'd probably be the fastest route for me to get title next. I feel like I definitely should be next. If Valentina wins, then you're not really sure if they fight again or not. But if Alexa wins Saturday, I want to fight her next.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see the fallout of that and you right in the middle of it. I'm always curious about fighter nicknames. Yours is Cold-Blooded, self-explanatory. But can you take us through how you received this nickname, and also is there a vetting process? Like, do you just receive the nickname and it sticks? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I got it from my dad.
Oh.
Yeah, he made it up.
Of all people.
Yeah, when I was a kid competing, I guess I was pretty, I don't know, I feel like I wasn't super emotional whether I won or lost. I was pretty stone cold. Like, I remember one time I like popped a girl's shoulder and I was like sorry. Like, I just kind of like did what I always did. And he always thought it's like Cold-Blooded. And when I started fighting, he was like, oh, you should use that as your fight name, because I didn't have one yet. And it kind of stuck. And he was like, oh, you can always change it if you don't like it. But I think everyone loved it, and I feel like it fits me well.
Last question, Erin, and you're going to stick around after the break because going to help us with some post-octagon conversation topics. But You see some names on that list of the people you've beaten. Jessica Baciestaca-Andrade is a legend in Brazil, a former champion. It seems like at some point you're going to fight Valentina and Alexa Grasso in your career, however it plans out. How important is it to you to over the course of your mixed martial arts career to stand across from those legends and prove yourself in a head-to-head format against some of the greatest names we've ever seen in this division and in the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to fight someone like Valentina. She's someone I've been watching since high school, and then obviously Alexa is a great fighter as well. I always want to fight the best fighters in the division and, beat them. And I feel like I feel like lining them up and seeing who's next.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.